friends. Today is World Kindness Day, and I would like to give a tribute to my amazing friend and mindfulness mentor, Kevin Reeder. And the 13 for me is actually my lucky number, but it was actually my unlucky number, as for many people I imagine, for many years actually, because I experienced so many bad things in life, from like bullying to racism to like burning out, the death of my mother when I needed her the most. So I thought for many years that I was like cursed. And I started to see like number 13 everywhere. Like when I look at the clock, it was like 13, so 13 or something like that. When I was going to a meeting, like the address was maybe like some street 13. So I was like tripping out because it went on for some time actually. So I thought like, what's wrong with me, you know? So, and one day I remember I took my sister's two children to a Tivoli in Stockholm, and we went by this like chocolate lottery stand, and they really wanted to play on that, and I was like hesitating because I thought I never have luck like when it comes to this stuff, right? But I don't know what happened in that moment that the person that was in the lottery stand say, come on, and trying to like put me in to do it. And I just looked at him, and then I said, here is the money. I said, number 13, I will win. And he just looked at me and he said, you can't know that. I said, I know that I will win. Number 13. So I put my money there, and I won actually. And it was amazing because after that, I started actually to shift, you know, from seeing this number 13 as something negative to something positive. And I think what happened in that moment was that I just accepted, you know, all these bad things that happened to me, like they were in the past, you know, and I was living in the moment. And maybe I wasn't in the place I wanted to be, but I was still moving forward, you know. That was my conclusion, that I just needed to accept all these things that happened to me and just move on, you know. So a little thing about kindness, I can tell you, like I said, like my childhood was not the best, right? So what happened was that I was bullied a lot, and I had to hide in the library, you could say, to not be seen by these bullies, right? Because I was like the colored kid in Sweden, like an immigrant or a refugee actually. And I started to read, and that was like, I started to read and read and read. And I was done with all the like children books. I started to read like the grown-up books, and it was amazing for me because I could hide there and I could discover like the world. Like I could travel everywhere through my books, like to the past, to the future. It was so amazing for me. Like there I became like this big book addict, you can say, you know. And one day, one of the persons that were working here, she started to talk to me, you know, and very few people were nice to me back then, you know. It was like my mother. That's it, almost. Like kindness was not something that I experienced very often. So when I experienced it, I was like really happy about it. So she noticed me, you know, because I was always there, you know. So she started to talk with me and like about the books I was reading and everything. And she looked at me and she said like, I truly believe that you will become something, you know, in life someday. And for me, it was very emotional because that was the first time I think like a person outside my mother had said anything nice to me, you know. So I remember that for a long time actually. And I think like kindness that you show to people, it doesn't need to be so complicated, you know. It's usually words, you know. It's so powerful, you know. And I can also tell about an opposite story, like what is the opposite of kindness, you know. This was when we came to Sweden, and I think I got like my first Christmas present, and I was very happy about it, you know, because it was winter, and I received this like bobsledge to go in the snow. And I remember that I went to the hill where all the kids were, and in winter time it becomes dark quite immediately here in Scandinavia. So, like at 3, it's already getting dark. So I went out to that hill, and when I came up to the top, like I saw him, like the terror, like that all the children were afraid for there in the area. And I looked at his face, and I could see like his smile, his happiness from seeing me. But I knew that the happiness of seeing me was not because he was happy to see me for being nice, because he will do his cruelty. And I remember his eyes, like from nice, like turning like dark, like with this hate, like I never experienced that before as a child. And I remember like I like almost like peed myself because I was so afraid. Like I think even maybe I did in a sense. And then I remember that he came like forward to me, and it took like 1 second or something, and he had punched me like in the solar plexus, so I lost my air, right? So I was like lying in the ground, and he and his 2 friends, they started to put snow inside my clothes, like very systematically. And they took off my like winter shoes, and they put snow on them too. And then he put them back on, and I was like lying there grasping for air. So when I could come back up, he said like, now you can go home. And he just looked at me with this very calm face, like, and he said like, we don't want your kind here, you can go home now. And I remember that I didn't cry. Like I was furious, but I didn't cry because I didn't want to give them the victory of crying. But as I was like walking home, I started to cry, like, and I cried like it was crazy how much I cried, and it was like I couldn't stop, until I was like almost getting home, And when you cry as a child, you do this like like after, right? So I had to calm down before I entered the house, because the least thing I wanted to do was to worry my mother, and because she was very sensitive. And for me, it was something that back then I realized that I hid all these things from her that was happening to me, consciously actually, to not worry her, And that's the love you have, love, for something like your mother. Like, the least you want to do is like to worry them, like, and you think, even if I was a child, I thought that I have to figure this out myself, And that was like one of the things, It's like, and I remember another incident, and I was walking home crying as I did the last time, and this man, he appeared like from nowhere. And he just stopped me, He said, "What's wrong, kid? You look sad." So I was like told to not to speak to strangers, So I became like a little worried, like maybe he will hurt me even more than those kids had hurted me. So I said like nothing, and he just looked at me, and he said like, "Hey, kid, the world is a tough place, So, but it gets better when you get older. And here, take this cone, go and buy yourself an ice cream or something. It might make you feel better, like, stick in there, kid." And then he just walked. And I had that coin for so long time, because that coin reminded me of kindness. I had it, like, I remember, like, under my pillow, like, everywhere I went, I had the coin with me. Of course, as a child, I lost it one day, right? But what I want to tell you with this story is that it's these small things we do of kindness, of like true care for people, that can change a person's life, like forever, right? And that meant a lot to me, like that little act that man did. And Kevin Reeder, a dear friend, my mindfulness coach, or sensei as I call him, has been kind of healing that I'm still going through, and I truly believe that some of the scars that we got in life, they never heal, actually. You need to learn to live with them. Now I have 2 children. I have to be strong for them. So mindfulness helped me a lot in that sense, that the things that happened to me also created some kind of like darkness, right? Because I became like introvert in a sense sometimes, like because I was afraid of people, because of the things that happened to me growing up. I didn't trust. But I have worked with like mindfulness. I've done a lot of like talk therapy. I tried everything, in my healing process, like. And from Kevin, I have learned so much. And today we had a mindfulness session, and he said something that blew my mind again. He said, resist and aggravate, or accept and celebrate. And this is the thing that I have been doing lately, is actually acceptance. And it's so important, like to accept, to leave it aside, like we can't change everything. We can't change the past. Some relations we can't change. They just don't work, And acceptance, when you really practice it, it makes things so much easier to move forward, actually, Because reality is that we live in the second, like we live in the moment. And every second and every breath we take, we can do something like for what is coming to be the next step. We can't predict what will come like between us and that step, But at least we can decide direction, Should our mind be of hate and anger because something that happens in our life? Or should our mind be of acceptance and gratitude, to be able to show kindness to other people? You need to have that to be able to show kindness, actually. It's very hard to show kindness in the opposite mode. Yeah, so I wish you an amazing day today. Take care of the people that are close to you. Never let them aside, and that is something I work on, because I do a lot of things. I have a lot of passion for things I want to change, in the industry or wherever it could be. But for me, like, most important are my children. Most important thing, that's what gives me the power to go up every day. It doesn't matter how hard my day was, or how much I failed in a project, or whatever happened. Like that's the thing. Like the people close to you, don't take them for granted. Like, show kindness today. Like, send gratitude to your father if you haven't spoken to him in a long time, or your mother maybe. Like, show gratitude with the words. Like, that's it. That's what people need the most. Like, not fancy toys or like expensive perfume, or like, that's a thing. They need the words that comes from your heart, that you truly care and value them. Yeah. So that's it for today. Eduardo Live, don't forget, Monday we have Chris Dyer on Eduardo Live. So just type it in the URL on Monday. And it will be 9 a.m. New York time. That means Oslo time, I think, is like 3. And